Welcome to Unity with Pam, with your host, Pam Willis-Hovey.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Unity. We are here at the Columbus Waterworks and we have Mr. Vic Birchfield. He's going to tell you all about our show, Clean Water. Want to go ahead and welcome him to Unity.
It's good to be here, Pam.
Well, thank you for doing the show. Please tell my viewers, big question, how do we get the water from the river into our treatment plant?
Well, that's a multi-step process. It starts at Lake Oliver, which is the Chattahoochee River, and that has been our source for our drinking water in Columbus since 1915. So it's a very reliable source of water. We pump that water through a series of pumps up to our water treatment plant, which is located on River Road. We use 4 large pumps. They're high capacity pumps to pump the water. We actually can pump up to 90 million gallons a day out of the river into the water treatment plant. Now, 1 million gallons of water, of course, may be a term that a lot of people are not familiar with.
Very true.
But generally, if you think of your swimming pool, a lot of people have swimming pools at home. Those average about 25,000 gallons apiece. So if you take 40 of those swimming pools, then you would equal 1 million gallons. So hopefully that will give your viewers an idea of what 1 million gallons is.
One thing I want to ask you too, once it's inside of the plant, take us through that process.
Well, after the water's pumped up to the plant, we pump it into 2 large reservoirs. Those reservoirs are 4 million gallons apiece. And then once it's in those reservoirs, the water can flow naturally or by gravity through the plant. So we do not have to use any additional pumping at that point. And the first step, of course, is to mix some chemicals with the water. One chemical that we use is aluminum sulfate. Aluminum sulfate is a chemical that is used to flock the particles in the water, and it helps to remove the sediment, the mud, any type of turbidity or cloudiness in the water is removed by that flocculation process. So the aluminum sulfate is added. It actually reacts with the water to form a gelatinous particle, kind of like a little jello particle. And you can imagine that floating in the water. And it has a positive charge to it. In water, the particles that you want to remove in the water typically have a negative charge. So you can think of, we've always heard opposites attract.
Right.
So that's what's happening here. That gelatinous particle with a positive charge will react with the negative particle that you want to remove out of the water. So let's say you had some mud particles in the water. They would be negative. The alum or the aluminum sulfate would be positive, and they attract. So once you mix that chemical in the water, it pulls the particles out of the water, the cloudiness, and helps to clear it up. And that's what we call flocculation.
You know, one thing I wanted to ask you, why is it important that we monitor the floc and the turbidity in our water? Why is it important for us to do that?
Well, the turbidity is the cloudiness of the water. So you can imagine looking at any glass of water, and if it were to have any milky color to it, then we would call that the cloudiness of the water. And the more cloudy the water is, the more turbidity is in the water. We want to remove as much of that turbidity as we can. And we have limits that we set within the plant as goals for reaching a certain level of turbidity. And we have to meet certain levels before we can distribute it into the distribution system. So the flocculation process is very important, because anytime you have cloudiness in water, then it's an indicator that other things may be in the water.
Okay.
So you just want to remove the cloudiness, get it as clear as possible. And that's why the flocculation process is so important, because that's that first step to remove any particles, any total organic carbon that may be in the water, as well as inorganics that may be suspended in the water.
Let's talk about the lab testing. They're giving me a few minutes. I got about 2 minutes. But let's talk about it. We test our water 480 times a day. Why is that?
During the treatment process, of course, it's a dynamic system. The flow changes throughout the day, and so the operators or technicians at the water plant who are certified operators, they are trained, have gone to school and have a certain level of certification. They test the water throughout the day at the plant, and they're on a 15-minute rotation in which they're testing certain parameters, such as how well is the flock settling out of the water. That's one of the things that they test for. And so they routinely test for that every 15 minutes, along with a number of other tests, and that adds up to, within a day's time, that's 480 tests per day. But that's what's required to keep on top of the process since it's changing. You may have a rain to come through, and the turbidity rises because of the rain. The river will get more suspended particles floating in it. So as that changes, then our operators have to respond, and they have to change, and that testing is the way that they can keep up with it.
Let me ask you in 1 minute, how long does it take us to get the water clean?
It takes through the whole process of removing it from the river to the time we can put it back into the distribution system, about 8 to 12 hours.
Well, Mr. Vick, we've got to go to commercial break. Then we're going to come and tell y'all how we move this water throughout our city, distributing it.
Unity with Pam is being brought to you by these great sponsors.
Hello, this is Pastor Willis of the Move of God Ministry. We come to welcome you to be a part of our ministry. This is not a put on, but this is a come on. And we come to share in our different ministries with our dance team, with our choir, and our TV ministry. And we're looking for great things to happen, great miracles to happen within this place. Come and be a part of the blessing plan.
Come into Chester's Barbecue for our world-famous mouth-watering ribs, smoked fresh on our grill daily. Or try one of our barbecue pork plates with fresh sides. Chester's has delicious sandwich combos to choose from that are sure to please. We also serve tempting home-cooked favorites. And don't forget to take home your own bottle of great sauce. Chester's Barbecue, serving the best food at the best price, with 3 locations to serve you.
Looking for a different kind of church service? Instead of your Sunday suit and a row of pews, Midtown Connection offers a cup of coffee and some real conversation about who Christ is and what being a Christ follower means. Midtown Connection is located inside Waldrop Memorial Baptist Church on Hilton Avenue, right in the heart of Midtown Columbus. Join friends over a cup of coffee this Sunday and enjoy uplifting music and a positive Christ-centered message. Midtown Connection at Waldrop Memorial Baptist Church. The way worship should be.
For the best in homemade Southern cooking, it's none other than Sugar's. From our signature tender hamburger steak to our juicy fried chicken, it's all made from scratch every day. And our comfortable and spacious dining facility will accommodate families of any size. Here at Sugar's, great Southern cooking and warm hospitality is always on the menu. Dine in with us or carry out 7 days a week. Sugar's at Harmony Place on Airport Thruway, a sweet taste of Southern cooking.
Is your weight preventing you from leading a happy, healthy life? West Georgia Health in LaGrange is the only accredited center for weight loss surgery in the region to offer all 3 surgical options, and your procedure may be covered by insurance. To learn more about your weight loss surgery options, visit wghealth.org. West Georgia Health. So healthy together.
Hello and welcome back to Unity. You've been hearing about clean water, and I have Mr. Vic Birchfield. He's from Columbus Water Works. We're going to talk about what it takes to distribute this water throughout our great city. And I want to go ahead and welcome you to Unity.
Good to be here.
Well, you know, we done talked about it. We done got the water cleaned up, but how long does it take that water to travel throughout our city?
Well, once we put that water into the distribution system, it can take anywhere from half a day up to about 5 or 6 days to get out to the edges of the distribution system.
So it takes that long for the water to move?
That's right. What people don't realize is that underground there's a network of pipes We have 1,150 miles of water mains in Columbus that transport the water from the filtration plant to your home and to your house. And so that network of underground piping is what we call the water distribution system. And with that 1,150 miles of piping, it takes a while to travel through those pipes. And we have a series not only of pipes, but we have the above ground tanks that you see within Columbus that also are part of that infrastructure. We have 12 above ground tanks, and those 12 tanks hold a total of 16 million gallons, and that helps with our storage out in the system. That helps with maintaining the pressure that we deliver, which we have certain specifications for that. And by the time it goes through all of that infrastructure, depending on where you're going with that water, it can take that long.
Let me ask you this question. When we had the opportunity to meet with you, when we was putting this show together, I noticed that our water tanks they seem to appear to be on different levels. One seems to be a little higher than the other. Why is that?
Well, actually, within any zone within the waterworks infrastructure, we have 3 zones, by the way, pressure zones. And within each zone, those water towers that you see are actually at the same elevation. One may look to be shorter, one may look to be taller, but within that pressure zone, they're actually at the same elevation above sea level. And the reason for that is that you can keep all your water tanks at the same water level, and as you need the water and as people are using water throughout the city, water draws down from those elevated tanks. So that's how we maintain the pressure throughout the system evenly, and also we have a reserve supply that is used from those water tanks that are, you know, as you say, some appear to be high, some
yes, they do.
appear to be low, but they're at the same elevation.
One thing, when you talked about the pressure, there are times when we can turn the water on in our house, and it seems like the pressure can be strong, and it seems like it can be low. Why is that?
Well, it depends on where you live. If you're near the water plant, for example, your pressure may be at the upper criteria. If you're out in the extremities of the system, you may be at the lower side of the specifications. But we keep the water pressure within the specifications that are adequate for a water distribution system. But that is why it depends on how close you are to a water tower. It depends on the size of the water mains that you're on. So there's a number of factors that will cause your pressure to increase and decrease. But like I said, we try to keep it within the minimum and the max as specified by the standards for the water industry.
And let me ask, we talked about the areas. How far out do we go with our water?
We go out, we serve all of Muskogee County, which is Columbus. We also have connections to Talbot County and to Harris County, so we serve certain sections of those counties. We have a connection which goes over into Phoenix City, and that is a connection where we have a mutual aid agreement in which we can supply water in an emergency situation to Phoenix City, and likewise they can supply water to us in the event of some type of an emergency. We also supply water to Fort Benning, so we have interconnections down at Fort Benning. So we serve a wide area here, not only in Columbus, but in the surrounding region.
One thing I wanted to tell you too, well, ask you, let me say, when we was in the museum, the history piece of our water, we have our new pipes, but also they'll get a chance to see on TV, it looks like log pipes the water traveled through back in the day?
That's right. Back in 1842, the first water system was put into Columbus. Actually, that was at Leonard Spring off of Cherokee Avenue. That's over where the country club is located now. And that spring provided water to downtown Columbus. But the way they got the water from that spring to downtown were through these large pine logs. And they're actually wood logs, and the center of the log was cored out, drilled out, and they were put together end to end One end was cut off like a sharp end, like a end of a pencil, whereas the other end was a receiver end that had a V-shape into it. So you can imagine one log fitting on the end of another, and then they would bind those together with some metal strapping. And so those log pipes actually carried the water to downtown Columbus, to Broad Street, where 12th Avenue is. And that's how the water got to downtown. People would come there in those days, and they would bring buckets, and they would grab a bucket of water, and you would have to pay a nickel for it. So it was a nickel per bucket back in those days.
Whew, that sounds good. It's not that way now,
right.
But it sounds good. We got to go to commercial break, and then we're going to talk about with Mr. Vic how safe it is to drink the tap water.
Unity with Pam is being brought to you by these great sponsors.
Come on in to Sugar's for a sweet taste of Southern cooking. You will be taken back to Sunday dinner at Grandma's house with every bite. Daily specials serving fried chicken, collards, black-eyed peas, also melt-in-your-mouth cornbread. You will want to ask for seconds. Also try one of our homemade desserts. You will be in sweet, sweet heaven. Sugar's offers catering for all your corporate, church, and family gatherings. They will do all the work and save you all the trouble. Sugar's, a taste of Southern cooking.
Looking for a different kind of church service? Instead of your Sunday suit in a row of pews, Midtown Connection offers a cup of coffee and some real conversation about who Christ is and what being a Christ follower means. Midtown Connection is located inside Waldrop Memorial Baptist Church on Hilton Avenue, right in the heart of Midtown Columbus. Join friends over a cup of coffee this Sunday and enjoy uplifting music and a positive Christ-centered message. Midtown Connection at Waldrop Memorial Baptist Church. The way worship should be.
For more than 60 years, the Dairy Queen recipe for success has been simple. It's been a combination of hardworking people, great tasting food, and tempting treats served in our establishments every day. Although a lot has changed in 60 years, some things remain the same. The smiles on children's faces, a treat for a good report card, close friends enjoying a great meal, and families spending quality time together. Here at DQ, we are always committed to treat you right.
When your child is sick, you take them to the doctor, right? Well, at Zoe Pediatrics, we don't just take care of sick kids. We want to keep the healthy ones healthy.
At Zoe Pediatrics, we're in the business of prevention. We would love if when our children are 100 years old, they could say they were never sick a day in their life because of what they learned at Zoe Pediatrics.
Don't wait for sickness. Children don't have to be sick to get better. Good doctors treat illness. Really great doctors prevent disease. Zoe Pediatrics, 10th Avenue at 17th.
Hello, welcome back to Unity. We are here at the Columbus Water Works with Mr. Vic Birchfield, and we've been talking about clean water. One thing I want people to know, I hear a lot of things about our tap water, and they was talking about the chlorine, and some people feel that our water is not safe to drink tap water, but we're going to tell you it is very safe. And Mr. Vic is going to give you some of those answers you need to know. Mr. Vic, welcome back to Unity.
Good to be back.
One thing I want to go ahead and jump into this Facebook question. Is chlorine safe to drink in our water?
And the answer to that is yes. Chlorine has been used in Columbus since 1915, since the original water plant was built on the current location that it exists today. Chlorine is used throughout the water industry as a disinfectant, and the reason it works so well is because it really attacks bacteria. It's economical to use, and it's very easy to apply. Chlorine, without chlorine, the bacteria would not be able to, it would be able to exist in the water if we didn't add the chlorine to it. So by the fact that we add the chlorine, we kill all the bacteria that's in the water. And we have a requirement by the state of Georgia and also by the Environmental Protection Agency that we cannot have any bacteria in the water when it's delivered to the customer. So we have 0 bacteria in the water, and that is our goal, and that is what we meet each and every day. And chlorine allows us to do that. Without the ability to use chlorine, then it would be, we would have to use some other type of disinfectant that's on the market today. But chlorine is a very safe chemical. We use it at only the amount that is required to get the kill of the bacteria.
Okay, and let me ask you one other question. People that are chlorine sensitive, what should they do?
Well, if you're sensitive to chlorine, since we do use chlorine, then we advise anyone that can taste the chlorine or smell the chlorine, if it bothers you, that you can purchase a filter to go on your tap. The charcoal filters work well to remove that taste of the chlorine and the odor if you're sensitive to it. Most people do not smell the chlorine in the water, nor can they taste it. But if you are one that is sensitive to the chlorine, then instead of buying an expensive whole house filtration system, what you can just do is go to the local shopping market, Walmart, Kmart type store, and just pick up one of the basic charcoal filters there that you can put on the end of your faucet. Now, when you do that, you have to remember to change it out. I mean, at that point, you become your own treatment person. Okay. And you've got to change that filter out. You can't just put it on and leave it there forever. It has to be changed out routinely, or either bacteria will start to grow in that filter, and you do not want that to happen. So just make sure, if you're going to go that route, that you go find a quality filter, put it on the end of your tap there, or underneath your faucet in your kitchen, probably, wherever you're going to be using that water. And then make sure you maintain it. Make sure you change out that cartridge that comes in that filter.
Let me ask you another question. We discussed about when people turn on their pipes, and you know how that red mud shoots out.
Right.
Why is that?
Well, that's generally we see that because of old plumbing in older homes. Older homes that have the galvanized piping, that is iron pipe that's zinc plated. That was used in the older homes, and if you have that type of plumbing in your home, then after you're away for a couple of days or you don't use the water, then the water will tend to pick up rust from that piping, and that's that red color or brown color that you see coming out. Now, sometimes it may be coming from the waterworks. We may be having a disturbance on the water line. There may be a fire in the area, for example, that's pulling a lot of water out of the water mains, and it will disturb the piping or the water mains out in the street. And so it's possible it could be coming from us. But what we'll do is we'll come out. Anytime we have a request to come out and check for discoloration, the first thing we'll do is we'll send a technician out, and they'll check for that to see, well, is it coming from the waterworks or is it on the private property side? And then we let you know, and that way you know what to do.
And you also have some frequently asked questions, FYIs, that you talked about. How much water is in coffee, shower? Tell my viewers about that.
It's a lot of viewers do not realize just how much water it takes to, for example, to make a cup of coffee. It takes 37 gallons of water to manufacture a cup of coffee. Of course, it doesn't take that much at home
right.
In your kitchen, but behind the scenes, as the beans are being manufactured and so forth, it's 36 or 37 gallons just to make one cup. A set of tires, for example, is 2,000 gallons of water to make a set of tires. To make a car in a plant takes 40,000 gallons of water. The average person, for example, when you take a shower, you use 50 gallons of water. When you're brushing your teeth, typically you use 2 gallons of water. So you can see it adds up very quickly. The average person uses 100 to 150 gallons of water per day.
So we want to close real quick. I want you to appeal to my viewers and let them know how safe the water is.
The water is very safe. We participate in the Partnership for Safe Drinking Water, which is an Environmental Protection Agency program. And we're one of just a few utilities in the nation that meets the stringent criteria of that program. And we meet all the safe drinking water limits and all the water quality standards that are set by both EPA and the state of Georgia.
Well, Mr. Vic Birchfield, thank you so much for doing my show.
Good
and remember, show love in the community.
Unity with Pam is being brought to you by these great sponsors.
Come on in to Sugars for a sweet taste of Southern cooking. You will be taken back to Sunday dinner at Grandma's house with every bite. Daily special serving fried chicken, collards, black-eyed peas, also melt-in-your-mouth cornbread. You will want to ask for seconds. Also try one of our homemade desserts. You will be in sweet, sweet heaven. Sugars offers catering for all your corporate, church, and family gatherings. They will do all the work and save you all the trouble. Sugars, a taste of Southern cooking.
Looking for a different kind of church service? Instead of your Sunday suit and a row of pews, Midtown Connection offers a cup of coffee and some real conversation about who Christ is and what being a Christ follower means. Midtown Connection is located inside Waldrop Memorial Baptist Church on Hilton Avenue, right in the heart of Midtown Columbus. Join friends over a cup of coffee this Sunday and enjoy uplifting music and a positive Christ-centered message. Midtown Connection at Waldrop Memorial Baptist Church. The way worship should be.
For the best in homemade Southern cooking, it's none other than Sugars. From our signature tender hamburger steak to our juicy fried chicken, it's all made from scratch every day. And our comfortable and spacious dining facility will accommodate families of any size. Here at Sugars, great Southern cooking and warm hospitality is always on the menu. Dine in with us or carry out 7 days a week. Sugars at Harmony Place on Airport Thruway, a sweet taste of Southern cooking.
Is your weight preventing you from leading a happy, healthy life? West Georgia Health in LaGrange is the only accredited center for weight loss surgery in the region to offer all 3 surgical options, and your procedure may be covered by insurance. To learn more about your weight loss surgery options, visit wghealth.org. West Georgia Health. So healthy together.
When your child is sick, you take them to the doctor, right? Well, at Zoe Pediatrics, we don't just take care of sick kids. We want to keep the healthy ones healthy.
At Zoe Pediatrics, we're in the business of prevention. We would love if when our children are 100 years old, they could say they were never sick a day in their life because of what they learned at Zoe Pediatrics.
Don't wait for sickness. Children don't have to be sick to get better. Good doctors treat illness. Really great doctors prevent disease. Zoe Pediatrics, 10th Avenue at 17th Street.
For more than 60 years, the Dairy Queen recipe for success has been simple. It's been a combination of hardworking people, great tasting food, and tempting treats served in our establishments every day. Although a lot has changed in 60 years, some things remain the same. The smiles on children's faces, a treat for a good report card, close friends enjoying a great meal, and families spending quality time together. Here at DQ, we are always committed to treat you right.
Thank you for watching Unity with Pam. If you would like to be a sponsor, please contact us or visit unitywithpam.org.